Historically, I've been trolled by people that have followed a game called Tunnels and Trolls. About 5 years ago, maybe probably more like 7 or 8 years ago, I backed a Kickstarter for Tunnels and Trolls, and then found that the creator of Tunnels and Trolls, a gentleman by the name of Richard Loomis, who is now deceased, was not actually putting out the game in the time frame that he specified in his Kickstarter. And ironically, when I met Jackson and Livingston, he had just passed away, and his departure was one of the discussion points that I had with Jackson Livingston, without discussing actually how Tunnels and Trolls aficionados had followed me on the internet and baited me. But this is a different trolling story. I was trolled recently by a gentleman who joined my GitLab account of all places, or my ApeSDK GitLab account, and then when I finally tracked him down, having befriended 2 people that shared his name on LinkedIn, I found he actually was connected to the same title he had on GitLab, but on Twitter, and was able to correspond with him briefly on Twitter, asking him if he was seriously interested in my development. And he indicated he wanted to find out whether Gangster Vegas was anything like Simulated Ape, and I made the point that Simulated Ape probably had more sex and violence. I don't know if his intent was to troll me, but the amount of time I put into trying to find this individual and do whatever this individual wanted made me realize that the actions of some of my projects are disproportional to the actions of my other projects, and I needed some degree of normalization as this year starts specifically. I'm thinking very much about the London 1940 development. This is something that I probably will not be doing in the foreseeable future, and it's almost like I need to come out and say to people, hey, if you're interested in this project and you want to get involved with this project, this will motivate me to do more work in this project. But as it is currently, without people doing any work in this project and me just kind of dithering around, it's less likely to be achieved. In fact, what I'm looking for is human support. And what struck me as ironic was that I would go all these extra yards for this individual who really I didn't know much about, with the view that he may be interested in my simulation work, and that was worthy of spending many hours trying to track him down and trying to track down what his interests were. Now this gentleman might still be interested. I'm actually going to present this audio to him, which is why I'm not using his name or really describing too much of the situation, although if you went to my Twitter account, you could find out who he was. And actually, if you went to Simulated Ape and you decided to be a co-developer on Simulated Ape, you might find out who he was too. But it makes me realize that I'm putting in a lot of these things, and these podcasts specifically have a particular weighting. Obviously, Model Rail Radio has a particular weighting. I'm doing Model Rail Radio edits currently to try and get them out in time for my dear, long-suffering listenership to Model Rail Radio. So, these podcasts, Model Rail Radio, Simulated Ape, maybe less so than these podcasts, Model Rail Radio. London 1940, maybe less so than Simulated Ape. I have to create these kind of, definitions of where my time is spent now, particularly because a portion of my time is devoted to this thing, parenthood, as my wife points out periodically. So, a short podcast, but just to say, if you're going to troll me, please actually consider working on my stuff, rather than just trolling me. A thought.